Good afternoon. I hope you can hear me. Hello? Okay, I've tested my speaker and it is also okay. Good afternoon once again. I want to clarify that online learning started, and indeed from today we shall be studying online. Today I want to look at opaque, and then later we shall start looking at the inner forms of catalogs. I'll share my screen and then we begin. If you can hear what I'm saying, you type yes, and then I confirm. Just type yes, okay. At least one person can hear me. I can now start. Melinda, this online class is for both classes. If you miss, you'll get access to the video. We are all at the same stage, so I don't see why I need to zoom twice the same content. Okay, online public access catalogs are the third physical forms of catalogs I'm going to look at today. We looked at the book and the card catalog earlier, and the third one now is opaque. How do we define opaque? This is an online bibliography. A bibliography is a list of a library collection that is available to the public. It is also defined as a computerized system to catalog and organize materials in a library. Opaques have replaced card-based catalogs in many libraries. Indeed, this has happened in Makerere. We have an opaque that I requested you to interrogate when we last met. An opaque is available to library users, and that is why we say it is accessed publicly. Opaques were developed as standalone online catalogs, often from VT100 terminals to mainframe library catalogs. VT100 terminals are the display screens that were being used. And of course, from the computer generations, we know that there was an era where we had very big computers that were being referred to as mainframes. So that is the genesis. However, with the introduction of the internet, most libraries have made their online public access catalogs accessible from a server to users all over the world. So if you want to know which documents are available in Makerere University Library, you don't need to be physically in Makerere. You can access the same wherever you are in the world because the OPAC is available on the internet. What advantages do we get when we place our catalogs online? Number one is to do with access time. The speed at which data is accessed is very high compared to the card catalog. This we shall demonstrate, and I think I need to demonstrate this straight away. I'll first stop the share and then go online to share the screen. I'll just go online and then I'll go to Makerere website, Mac, or in fact, I'll use the direct address mlib.mac.ac.ug. That is the internet address of Makerere University Library. And hopefully the net is okay. When I'm there, we shall access their catalog. And the speed is slow, but hopefully it will download. There we are. This is an advert, which I'll just close. But it is important to read the message. Please, COVID-19 is still around and it's serious. So the library put up this information to guide you how to access the library resources, find time, and see how you can access those resources. So from the drop-down menus, you go to electronic resources, and you'll get databases, library online platforms, but our interest is in the online catalog. I'll click on this, and then we search for a book, and we see how fast we get that book. So this is where I search from. I'll search a book I know that is available, Uganda Electricity Board Information System. So I want to see if this publication is available. I'll click on search and the results will be below here. When I click, it is not even a minute. We have the book and it is the only book. I use the title of the book and we have got it. Development of Uganda Electricity Board Information System. It gives the author and where it was published there. And there is one copy which is available in the main library in Africana. If you need more information on this, you just click on the title and you get other details. So it is 6 Roman pages, 8 Arabic, 30 centimeters. Published in 1994 by Makerere University, which is in Kampala. So briefly, you have seen how fast searching for information using an online catalog is, and this is the MAKULA I was referring to. Makerere University Library Catalog was baptized MAKULA. I'll stop the share and then go back to our online presentation. So I'll share again And what I'm sharing is the opaque presentation. So we can now proceed to the next advantage. Access time, the speed at which data is accessed is very high compared to the card catalog. That has been demonstrated. Number two is to do with operation. With opaque, you use the computer to enter data or retrieve it. It is therefore not so tiresome compared to the card catalog, where it is done manually. So the mechanism used to get the details of the books is to do with using a computer. You type whatever you want and you get it, which is an advantage. Accuracy, with opaques, mistakes are easy to correct and therefore more flexible and up to date than the card catalog. So if we were cataloging, preparing the entries using the opaque, Dennis, I'll answer the questions later after the presentation. So I will not interrupt and then answer questions now. So I was saying with opaques, mistakes are easy to correct. And that means we can add new entries. If we make a mistake, we can change the mistake there and then. And therefore, at all times, the opaque is supposed to be more up to date compared to the card catalog. Then another advantage of the online public access catalog is to do with its flexibility. When using opaques, errors can be deleted and terms added for search, which is not possible with the card catalog, as any error needs card replacement. So we saw this previously, where the card catalogs have that quality of flexibility more than the book catalog. But now we are seeing the online catalog as that quality more than the card catalog compared to the card catalog. The networking with opaque, the bibliographic information can easily be shared with other libraries. So the details that we use to catalog our documents, that is the title, author, pagination, all those are bibliographic details which can easily be shared with other libraries in the shortest possible time through networking, wherever. But for the card catalog, that networking is not so pronounced as it is with the opaques. Of course, with the card catalogs, you can cooperate with other libraries, but still the sharing of the catalog when it is on cards is not so fast as when we have a network with the computers. And this is very important if you are to network with other libraries, especially in this digital era. Then if we adopt opaques, online cataloging is possible. We shall be learning how to catalog online using an integrated library management software called CORE. So we shall see how, other than cataloging originally, what we are doing currently, we shall also be able to catalog using a computer. And of course, if you are using a computer, it is faster, it is accurate, and then all advantages of using computing systems will be derived when we adopt an opaque. So briefly, those are the advantages. And now we need to determine what the disadvantages are. So I'll first close this and then stop the share. And each one of us should go in the chat room and type disadvantages. Please type disadvantages of using an opaque. And if someone has already typed what you have typed, then you don't even need to type it. So I'm saying, please type disadvantages of opaque. In 2 minutes, each one of you should attend to what I've requested. I'm in the chat room waiting for your answers. Aisha, you have just repeated what I want you to do. So don't write disadvantages of using opaque. Exactly, go to the disadvantages and at least type 2. Whatever is typed, I'll record. It is data costly, network problems. Thank you. It requires power from Makerere and data. And then from Nachibinge, opaques are not user friendly. Now on Nachibinge, it is assumed that whoever goes to the library is literate. To some extent, especially if you're at university level. But of course, still we have people who have issues with the computers. Another one says it requires electricity. It is expensive to maintain. Pious, you will need to explain that. In the case of electricity blackout, the system stops. For us, it doesn't stop because we have a generator. NACA, we are not user friendly. You need to explain that. For us, we think it is user friendly. Gava says it requires a lot of power usage. How do you determine the power that it is a lot? I think the issue is it requires power and the electricity may not be available everywhere. It is not easy to set up. I don't think so. Martha, explain why you think it is not easy to set up. It is costly, you need to explain that. It is very costly. Adikini, I don't know what you mean by very costly. Highly prone to errors, really? Those errors are created by Melissa, not the opaque. And then now people are repeating what has already been typed. So it is easy to duplicate. I thought that is an advantage. I'll go back and then feed the template with your responses. So I'm sharing my screen and I'll go to type. You say, my computer is not that fast. I'm typing the responses you have given and then I'll share that. So one said it requires electricity. And of course, with Yaka, we know how expensive it is. People are saying it is costly. I'll add that it is costly for small libraries. And small libraries are normally school libraries. And then nobody has mentioned that it is vulnerable to computer viruses. Of course, when that happens, hackers are not very far away. And then we have second-year students who are illiterate, that is computer illiterate. But I imagine that is from you and you are referring to yourselves. So you need to be computer literate. What else? What have I left out? These online public access catalogs, it requires skilled library staff. Is that a disadvantage? It is not really a disadvantage, but for you to operate those catalogs, your library staff must be skilled. If they are not skilled, then it is a disadvantage. And then, of course, computers and the softwares get old. So there's that problem of obsolete computers. And of course, softwares also get outdated. You need to know that these library management softwares are expensive. Library softwares are expensive. And then, of course, etc. So we can build on those. We shall be building on what we have listed. So in case I've left out, I said it requires electricity, it is costly for small libraries, computer viruses, hackers, for library users who are computer literate, they won't be able to use it. And of course, we must be having skilled library staff. Computers get old, so you need to replace them. It will become costly. And also, the library softwares in the market are expensive. So those are the disadvantages of OPAC. I'll check in the chat to answer any questions before looking at the inner forms of catalogs. I can see starting from, okay, I'll just go through. Godfrey, he says, filtering of searches becomes tiresome. Really, I disagree. It most of the times favor people with IT knowledge. Therefore, you must also be knowledgeable in ITs. It is easy to duplicate, that is an advantage. Computer literacy, we have seen that. And then Azida, you are begging your pardon. I don't know what exactly you wanted. No help in translation of entry query in terms of vocabulary. Sharon, I don't know what you really need. A computer is not supposed to translate an entry. No. Virus attacks from Rashid, true. Mlindwa, it's not easy to set up because even Makerere to get to the system, they had to get they had to get support from other countries. To some extent, it is true, but you are studying to learn how to set up those open public access catalogs. So for us, we had a project automating the university library, and it was funded by Sweden through SIDA. So it is not really that it is not easy. It is doable, but it requires funds. And then Nabuto Gertrude comes up with this very good disadvantage. It limits the number of visitors to the library. Yes, because it is online, it in a way kills the library habit. If someone searches the catalog and they don't see what they need, they'll never visit that library. And then Joanita, they may limit the number of, okay, the same thing. Nachigude can't operate without network connections. An online catalog can operate when you don't have internet. That means it is offline, but it is better when it is online. They limited the number of actual users. We have seen that either. Browsed searches accumulate on tabs. I think a PERMU, this is something the use of the tab has to address. It is not the problem of OPAC. They may limit the number of actual users. We have seen that. How an OPAC works, and that is Azida, you are asking how an OPAC works. That is now something we shall need to deal with. Of course, as long as you know that a catalog can be arranged using the authors, the titles, the subjects of the books, then you can really access whatever you want. Then Melinda Dennis, so why is it not possible to download books on MAKULA, or it is just a catalog? Indeed, MAKULA is a list of books available in the library. If we have online books which are readily available, then those ones you can download. But most of the books we have are the ones in print, not online. Maintenance of software is expensive. Even buying it, it is very expensive. So those are the disadvantages you presented. Tessa says it only works in a networked environment. Not necessarily, it can also be offline. So I'll close the chat and then we move to see the inner forms. We have concluded the physical forms, and the physical forms we have seen first the book catalog, card catalog, and then OPAC. I will encourage you to access books from Makerere University Library using the MAKULA, such that we learn the search options you can use. Continuing with today's presentation, we move to the inner forms of catalogs. The way catalog is defined, once again, it is a list of books in a library or collection. The entries in the best being arranged in some systematic order. I remember you refused to arrange your belongings systematically. And now it is coming up that when we create a catalog of a library, it must be arranged in some systematic order. And that order or mode of arrangement is what determines the inner form of a catalog. In other words, the physical forms have the inner form, simply because that is how the arrangement of the entries will determine what inner form you have. There are three main types of the inner form or the internal form of the catalog, and these include number one, the alphabetic catalog. It means the entries are arranged alphabetically. Then number two, the classified or the classed catalog. In number two, the entries are arranged following class numbers. And number three, we have the alphabetical classed catalog. In the number three, the arrangement follows the alphabet and also the class numbers. So among these three, number one is subdivided into 5. Author catalog, name catalog. We shall see the difference between author and name. Subject catalog, title catalog, and dictionary catalog. So let us look at the alphabetic catalogs, starting with the author catalog. The author catalog consists of author entries arranged alphabetically, that is according to Krishan Kumar. The entries will usually include those for illustrators, editors, translators. So when we talk about an author catalog, we are including those who just draw the images, illustrators, the editors, the translators, compilers, whatever name that you can think of, artists, music writers, all those are handled under the author catalog. This type of alphabetical catalog indicates what documents of a given author are processed by the library and whether the library has a particular work of a given author. So when we go to the author catalog, we should be able to tell what the library has or possesses by a given author. Of course, that is an advantage. Identification of a book by means of a named author is the traditional approach that users of libraries adopt. So when you want a book, the traditional approach we use is for you to know the author, and then you go to access that book. I will go to Makerere University online catalog, and we see how we can search for a book using authors. I hope you can see my screen. Previously, I just typed from there. I never specified whether I use author or title. But we have options. There is advanced search. I'll just click on this to see, because some of you wanted to know how to search. So you can search any field, but if it is not any field, when you click here, you can say search in author field only. And what you are searching, you say as all of these words. For instance, there are other options as this exact phrase, as at least one of these words, as none of these. So we want to search for author using all the words. For instance, we want to see what Apollo Nsibambi wrote and is available in our library. So I've specified author, and our search must return all and whatever books which have those two names as all of these words. It can also be as this exact phrase. So I can change this to be as this exact phrase. That means if I made a mistake, it will not return things which are similar to this. So I click search, and no results were found for your search request. And that is not good. I go back. I have to refine how I search. And I want to do it again. I want to search still in the author. And then as at least one of these words. Whereas I need Apple on Nsibambi, I can say Nsibambi alone. And then we search. It could be there's something we are not doing right. So using Nsibambi, we got 41 results. And now it is our task to see if Apple Nsibambi is included among the Nsibambis. The first one is Juliet Nsibambi. The second one is Frederick. Now you can see Teddy Nachimuli Nsibambi, Nsibambi DY, and I'm not seeing Apple O is here. Making democratic decentralization an instrument of poverty eradication, that is by Nsibambi Apple. Now using this, because this is what I was targeting, the late professor, Apple is spelled with a single L. So I'll search for Nsibambi Apple Robin, and we see how many books he has written, or how many books he wrote before he passed on. So I'll go back to do an advanced search. And now I want still author field. And by author, now I'm searching in the author catalog. And I want as at least one of these words. And then Apollo Nsibambi. And now I search. Hey, and the Forgotten Robin. I don't need to put the title, his title, Professor. Democracy. So we have 429. I think that is a lot for one person to write. But by the time you're a professor, then you must have written a lot. I also wrote on land tenure relations in Uganda. So you can see that when you're a professor, you must be having works to your name. I'll just look at the second page for you to see key issues in the new 1995 Constitution, making democratic decentralization, that one we saw earlier. Then Makerere University speech of the Chancellor, Professor Apple Nsibambi, on the occasion of the 45th congregation. So that is how we search for books. If you know who wrote the book, if you don't know who wrote the book, then there are other options. You can use the title, the subject, the standard book number, the serial number, etc. But the why I brought this was because of I'm amused. People have started signing in. I don't need you signing your names today. I'll move back to our presentation. And then we see why the author catalog is important. We have seen that you are able to see what someone has written. So that is what we mean by author catalog. The author entries, or what we call the main entries, are arranged alphabetically in one alphabetical sequence. And when we do that, the type of catalog we get is the author catalog. Then the second alphabetical catalog is what we call the name catalog. This has the author catalog and subject catalog mixed in one sequence, arranged alphabetically. What does this mean? When we combine the author catalog and subject catalog, the subject catalog we are referring to is the one which is restricted to the subject entries for the names of persons occurring as subjects of books. For instance, biographies, diaries, memoirs, criticism. These are subjects consisting of names of persons treated as subjects. So when we talk of a subject entry or a subject catalog combined with the author catalog we have seen, the subject catalog we are referring to are those names of individuals which are treated as subjects. For instance, Nelson Mandela is a name of a legend, but that name now it is a subject. You can go to a library and say, I want books on Nelson Mandela. So Nelson Mandela is the subject, leave alone it was a name of an individual. Likewise, for those who study the literature, when you mention Shakespeare, that is a name of someone, but it is a subject in literature. Likewise, in Uganda, there are names of people you mention, and then they depict a subject. For instance, when you talk of Katumba, people will not get you books on Wamala Katumba. Most likely they want books on Katumba, the presidential candidate. So we have names of persons which occur as subjects. As long as we get those subjects and the author catalog, combine them together, then we get what we call a name catalog. The headings on the entries are those of proper names of persons and places arranged in one alphabetical sequence. So when we talk of names of persons, we also include places. Kampala is the name of a place, and therefore Kampala can also be a subject. So when we combine names of persons, names of places, and authors in one alphabetical sequence, we get what we call a name catalog. This can further be explained in this way. I'll insert a new slide, and then I try to give some examples. Now, these are names of persons treated as subjects. I've given already one. I'll just note it: Nelson Madiba Mandela. That is the name of a person which is treated as a subject. You mention Amin, everybody will know you want to talk about dictatorship. You mention Kyagulanyi. Now that has also become a serious subject. I'll go Far away, Princess Diana. Now that one challenged the royal family. So that is a subject now. For recent, you mentioned Meghan. Meghan. Yeah, I hope you know who Meghan is. She's the Duke or former Duke of England. And then, of course, the husband. So those are some names of persons which can be treated as subjects. But it is better we also get local examples. I'd mention Katumba. Even without mentioning the second name, you know that is our presidential candidate. We can add other people like, I will not mention kings because those are treated differently, but there are also names of persons which are subjects. I want to get some local person. Hey, I'm forgetting the minister who doesn't know English, who comes from Wales. That one, the moment you mention Naduri, is popular for telling people to go and produce. So those are examples of names of persons which we can treat as subjects. Then, of course, names of places. Names of places. Those almost every place can fit here. You mentioned Kampala, Pearl of Africa. You mentioned that, then you are in Uganda. Then there are places you go to. Entebbe, Resort Beach. Which beach is that? There is Lido. So those are names of places which we shall include in our catalog. What else? River Nile. You can give as many examples as you know. I've also put Kidepo National Park. So those are the names of places I can come up with for now. I'll go back to the slideshow. So the names of places are those. And next, we look at the subject catalog. But before that, I need to get feedback. What is happening in the chat? No questions so far? Okay, there are no questions for me to attend to. So I'll proceed with sharing the screen. Then we move on to the subject. I'll move to the subject catalog. This is a catalog in which the headings on the entries designate the subject matter of the work, and the entries are arranged systematically for subject identification and retrieval. So unlike the subjects we were referring to earlier, for these, they show the subject matter of the work. And of course, they are arranged systematically for someone to be able to identify and retrieve information on those subjects. If the entries are arranged alphabetically, the catalog is referred to as alphabetical subject catalog. And this will address the approach of a reader from any subject aspect covered in the document. I'll give some examples. If I can go back, I will type some subjects. I'll insert a new slide and then put subjects. When we don't give these examples, it might be confusing. Cataloging is one of the subjects. Of course, your classification. Then the obvious ones, chemistry, what you are studying, desktop, publishing. There's another subject, you must be familiar with it, dictatorship. And then what else can we give? A subject, election rigging. Those are the few examples of subjects. When we arrange those alphabetically, then what we shall get is what we refer to as a subject catalog. So I'll just show you the subjects that I've generated. So when you arrange those alphabetically, fun enough, I picked from letters C and D. So arranging these will not be a problem. When we arrange them alphabetically, then that is an alphabetical subject catalog. Next, title catalog. This type of catalog consists of entries for books under their titles arranged alphabetically. And I've given examples of the titles: an introduction to cataloging practice, theory and practice of cataloging, then theory of cataloging. So arrange those alphabetically, what you get will be a title catalog. So indeed the first one comes first and the second one comes second. So already that is an alphabetical title catalog. The last one among the alphabetical catalogs is the dictionary catalog. This is a catalog in which all the entries are words. In fact, this is a catalog which combines the four we looked at earlier, because all of them add words. According to the Anglo-American Cataloging Rules, Edition 1, a dictionary catalog is defined as a catalog in which all entries, that is the author, the title, the subject, the series, the name, and their related references are arranged together in one general alphabet. This catalog can easily be used as a dictionary and is one of the classical inner forms of library catalogs. So that is how the dictionary catalog is unique, because it combines all the other four: the author, the name, the title, and subject catalogs, but in one alphabetical sequence. So we shall generate a dictionary catalog. How? And I need you to pay attention. I'm inserting one slide which will guide. I want you to list 5 of each of the following. The first one, I want you to come up with the authors. You give all names, surname and other names. Then you will come up with names. I want names course, of places. Then you will come up with 5 titles. So come up with a list of 5 of each of those, and then generate a dictionary catalog from the above. So that is the task that I want you to perform from today's lecture. What is it? You list at least 5 of each of the following. You come up with 5 authors, just like we saw in Sivambi. Then at one time we saw that one who wrote the book about the information system of UEB. So many authors, at least 5. Then you come up with names of places or persons which are treated as subjects. Then you come up with actual subjects, titles of books, and then using those, you'll generate a dictionary catalog. So that is the exercise from today's presentation. I hope you followed. If you have any questions, please type them in the chat before we wind up today's presentation. So I'm opening the chat to handle your questions. Mlindwa, you have a lot of interesting questions. Are these edited notes going to be changed on Mwere? The answer is a big no. Mwere has issues with the size of the file you can upload. I've tried it before by removing what is already there to update, but it fails. So I've been forced to leave whatever is in Mwere the way it is. So what you will get is the video. Of course, I still have challenges getting the actual video in the WhatsApp group, but I think those who need the video should be sharing their email. In fact, other than writing your names, registration numbers, and the rest, it is better you type your email addresses for Makerere, such that when I get the video from the clouds, I just forward it to your mails. That was Melindwa's question. From Atem or on our books. Yes, it is important that you do that work in your record book. I don't want you to submit that work online because you don't have data. Nachanzi, I beg your pardon on dictionary catalog. Nachanzi, please follow the exercise in the last slide, and then you'll understand when you arrange those alphabetically, what you will get is a dictionary catalog. How are we submitting the work? You are not submitting it in Mwere because you do not have data. And then at Temu, you are asking about on a directory catalog. It is a dictionary catalog. So please, you will just go back to the slides. When you have the author catalog, the name catalog, the subject catalog, the title catalog, if all those are combined in one alphabetical sequence, you get what we refer to as a dictionary catalog. And that is what I want you to create from the last slide I presented. Atemu, thanks for submitting your email. So the rest, please type your email, which I'll be referring to when I download the videos and then send. So I can see Atemu, Mulindwa, Abenacho. Oh, Abenacho is in my class. That's good. Then Atemu. Atemu, I'm wondering whether that email you have provided is correct. It is also good to use the Makerere email if you don't have Gmail. Either of the two will work for me. So thanks for attending. We shall be studying online the way we have done today. So we shall not be having face-to-face. We are following the university program of the staggered learning. So I'll close this. If you want us to listen to your voice, then you tell us, we unmute you. If you think we can only answer your questions through the sound, it is okay, you unmute and then you tell us what you want to say. I'm done and I'm waiting for you. When you type your email, please, you can leave. The presentation is over. So those who have typed, please leave. The presentation is over. When there are 0 participants, I'll end the meeting. Thank you for attending. I have 1 more minute before I close. Please type your email, and then when you are done, you leave. I'm about to end the session. So please type your email. I'm about to close. And when I close, that is it. Okay, I'm closing now. Atem, you just leave. I want you to leave and then I close.